Okay, I think if anything, last episode was a good example of why nice guys finished last. We literally got interrogated over something we didn't actually do. We just kept getting accused of having sexual misconduct, but we didn't do that. So, anyways, we're just gonna go and continue on. We met Takahara-san. That was cool. She's pretty hot. we're just gonna say it, boys. You already know. We're not gonna sugarcoat it here. That was pretty cool getting to see her, and we're just gonna continue on from here. Saki had told us to ride with them, but if the three of us arrived at school together by car, we might be seen and there was no telling what people would say, because people gossip way too much. You know, because you're one of my new favorite characters, so of course I'm going to stay with you. You did get me into a lot of trouble, though, so I'm going to have to knock you down a few points for that, but otherwise, you are pretty enjoyable to be around. I'm worried about you skipping school and wandering around. I told Hirasaka she should ride with them, but she declined, saying she would rather walk. You don't skip without a good reason, are you sure? I see, that's good then. Certainly she must have been planning to go because she was holding her school bag among her other baggage. Well, that's good. Certainly, I need to hear that from you, because I don't want to go through another last episode. Gosh. You didn't cause any... Don't even lie to her. Don't say that. Well, I won't say you didn't cause any at all, but you didn't cause that much. She had to use the bed, so my back is a little sore from sleeping on the sofa, but it wasn't a big deal. So, what actually happened wasn't that big. What ended up happening, because every girl in my life seems to want to torture me, was a big deal. In fact, I felt like I had come out on top just by seeing Hirasaka in a dress shirt, but I wasn't going to say that out loud. My guy, based. Okay. No. That's no different from usual. Saki glared at me whenever I interacted with her. It's true, though. It's true. It gave me a cold stare whenever I interacted with someone else. Yes, absolutely. Amen. If I was worried over that, then I probably would have become neurotic a long time ago. I'm not okay with it, but what choice do I have? Sounds like you're implying something. Yeah, I'd like it if you didn't worry about it. I never thought things would actually be settled so peacefully when Saki found out about Hirasaka. To be honest, I was prepared to see Saki sitting on me with a knife to my throat when I woke up, and that's not even an exaggeration. The sad part is, no, it's not. It's really not. Well, Takahara-san and Hirasaka were there too. Maybe it was overly optimistic of me to think things would end here, but still. At least I probably wouldn't have been killed, though I might not have been able to run away. Before I got bogged down, I wanted to prepare a point of compromise. Come to think of it, you and Saki already knew each other. Oh. Heard rumors of me? Okay. Alright. So she was already into me before she was into me. Those worthless rumors, huh? Ah, frick. They're not good ones. I remember the rumors I'd heard when I first met Hirasaka. Something about my sister having been adopted by a rich family and me being dominated by her? Ayo? What kind of rumors are y'all spreading? We're in high school. Okay, that's more normal. That's fine. People are spreading stuff like that. Yeah, I won't tell you to forget it, but please don't spread it around, not that I think you would. I don't think Hirasaka necessarily talks to many other people besides us, so I don't think I need to worry about her spreading anything. I was just checking to make sure. I was relieved to hear her say that. No, we are not. Yeah, Saki and I are childhood friends. She's called me Nissan for a long time. I know, some weird fetish of hers. In the end, if you just left out some of our various circumstances, Saki and I were just close childhood friends. We just couldn't honestly say that because of what she called me and some of the things that had happened. Well, she probably doesn't show it when she's outside, not Not that she's pretending to be docile. It would be terrible if she was like that all the time. I knew that she was calmer with other people than she was with me, and that's a sad truth. How does Saki appear in your eyes? Even though I knew Hirasaka was a little sister to me, I was curious about how she looked to other people. I don't know, I recently went out with like a few coworkers. I took my wife and we just, you know, had an adult night for an hour. And it's interesting seeing coworkers outside of work. They often have a completely different lifestyle or personality than you would think. You're used to seeing them, you know, just kind of nice, and then you see them a little bit more wild and things like that. So people are often a little bit different than they seem at first. Hirasaka thought for a moment. Yeah, I guess you could say that. Ah, so she's scary. To be honest, she was pretty ruthless to people not close to her. She was gentle with me and her family, but she was very cold towards people she didn't care about. Is gentle the word I would use? Maybe with her family? Not necessarily with us. She was pretty ruthless with me too. Okay, good. He's admitting it. Good. She gets really mad when someone approaches her, so it's kind of a problem. I don't think I've ever seen another boy approach her, but you know, it wasn't that she hated boys, but she just liked those who couldn't separate public and private matters, but she didn't like the frivolity of all of it. Basically, she didn't like being hit on. I mean, I feel like most people don't. I wouldn't say a lot of people do. I mean, though that did make her seem more like the daughter of a good family. Whatever happens, it's Saki's responsibility and Saki's choice. As her brother, I respect her independence. Oh, we actually call ourselves her brother. That's interesting. I know, like, it's happened here and there, but he's pretty serious about it. However, I get the feeling that if something happened, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I was old talk. I didn't respect her independence at all. But Saki is beautiful, huh? So she gets called that now. I understood the sentiment, but I had known Saki from when we were little. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, clearly, Toru's pretty protective of Saki in a way, and Saki's pretty protective of Toru. I think as a childhood friend, and then also the fact that she kind of likes him. Before anything else, I just imagined Saki as Saki, so it was hard for me to accept her being categorized as beautiful. Hirasaka did seem to have a hard time interacting with people, but as far as beauty was concerned, I thought Hirasaka had quite a lot going for her too. It's just that if you stayed again tonight and said something like that, I might not have been able to control myself this time. I mean, it's true. I would like to think that Toru is just a respectful guy. I think he has the capability to pick up women, clearly, because we have so many women that are around us. But I do think he likes to be respectful, which, honestly, I kind of prefer that in a way. I mean, I would like it sometimes he made a little bit more moves, but, you know, I'm sure we have plenty of time to get into that. Hirasaka said, sounding annoyed, she walked ahead briskly. I definitely think taking advantage of Hirasaka last night was not the play. But, you know, that's so true, I thought to myself before falling after her. Or Hirasawa. Am I calling her Hirasaka? I think it's Hirasawa, right? Or is it Hirasaka? I'm mixing up her name. It's one letter, but it's so difficult to remember. Oh, rang and morning classes ended. Today I didn't fall asleep or faint during class, so the morning passed without incident. I guess now is when the real battle starts. I don't know about Saki, but this was Club Prez we were talking about. It was painfully obvious that she was going to come butting in, wanting to hear the details about last night. Wasn't much I couldn't tell her, but even I wanted a little quiet time to myself. That's something we have not gotten much of this game. Rather, I didn't want to become a toy even in reality. If we were going to talk, we could just as easily do it in a dream. Oh, I was going to go out today, and I had wanted to escape from school for lunch today, but it looked like my opponent had been quicker. Naito again. I hear the sound of tongue clicking all around me. Even he's jealous. What? Even you're saying that. Tetsuya's love was only aimed at Asahi, but he was always saying that he must never forget the feeling of wanting to get along with beautiful girls. He made good on his word, and now he received a low kick from a smiling Asahi. Ah, Club Press smiled at me in a perfect honor student mode. Does it have to be today? I asked as I mentally judged the space between us. Ah, of course. It looked like she wasn't going to let me get away, as the envy-tinted pressure from those around me increased. I hope this was really something to do with Club, but it probably wasn't. Alright. Can we ditch? Can we just leave? Tacking that warning on the end, Club Prez left the room. Tetsuya saw me sigh. I like how he's just openly calling his girlfriend's sister hot. Based. That's really all it was. I wouldn't have any complaints either. She's pissed. She's got fire in her eyes. As I answered, Tetsuya received another low kick from Aussie. I like how she just tolerates it too, though. Like, she's just like, whatever, you know, I'll kick him, and that's good. I'm too good at risk management, so I should get into the finance business. I should be dealing with stocks. What are you talking about? We were in the preparation room now, so Club Prez said this with an honor student mask off, as usual. Maybe he's waiting for the right moment. He's not just trying to take advantage of every single woman he comes across. Maybe he wants to save himself for the woman he actually does love the most. Which he's still figuring out, because there's a lot of options. It would be nice if I could do that. I wish they would have like a CG of him just pushing up his glasses. That would be so nice. I couldn't cope if I didn't joke around like that. I think this is perfectly normal for anyone who's had to deal with lucid dreams for as long as I have. I was more of a damage mitigation professional than some sort of suave bishi douchebag. I'd imagine that anyone would become a rationalist in order to somehow control dreams that changed on a whim. If I couldn't do that, at least then I'd get so tired from dreams every night and become unable to live normally. At least that's what I believed. Then again, if I were to get tough enough to be fine despite that, I probably wouldn't have to worry about it. Tetsuya, for example, would probably be fine. I don't know, I think I've said before that Toru does kind of show some signs of depression. Saki sounded annoyed as she picked at the usual bento tears. I thought it was the same with Saki, who now got called a little scary by her classmates. Nothing, and just because she's overreacting. Seems to be enjoying yourself. Saki was still looking at me with cold and narrowed eyes. I thought you accepted my explanation, Saki. Okay, she's saying some nice things. That's a positive. It is. And I'm not gonna say I'm ever been popular with girls, but like I've even had my wife get jealous over me just being nice to another woman. Like clearly I wasn't flirting, she wasn't flirting with me, like I was just doing something real quick to be nice, like maybe holding a door, and my wife will get jealous. It just happens. Saki's frigid aura grew even colder in response to Club Prez's prodding. No, I mean, I really don't have this sort of relationship with Hirasaka. Okay, it is Hirasaka. Who's Hirasawa? Not sure where I'm getting that from. Where the hell did that come from? Besides, if something had happened, do you think I'd be here at school in one piece eating lunch with Saki? That's your own fault. Saki murmured as she ate her food, but I was relieved to see that Club Press seemed convinced. Oh yeah. It's a done deal. Is there something that makes you think that wouldn't be the case? Oh, don't worry, we have plenty of time. I involuntarily raised my voice in an ah. Club Prez waved her chopsticks as if she was about to begin a lecture. I mean, that is true. I do think Hirasaka is probably coming up. I can only hope things end with that. If I could avoid getting anyone else involved, then I'd be pretty grateful. But Alice and I hadn't experienced being the leading role in a dream either, so it was very hard to verify Club Prez's hypothesis. Yes, I'm always saying that I didn't even want to get you and Saki involved, aren't I? I mean, just what I said. It'd be best if I took care of that on my own, wouldn't it? No matter how cold of a gaze Saki gave me, I couldn't give in. Maya was my problem. There was no need for Saki to worry in the first place. This was something I had to take care of on my own. I don't know. I'm wondering the same thing too. Who is she in the first place? Even if she does, that doesn't necessarily mean that she remembers her dreams. The Alice we knew remembered only dreams. Since we hadn't met her in this world, we couldn't be sure that she would remember us. And even if she did, since she didn't know us in real life, she might just dismiss it as a weird dream. You got a point there. I doubt understanding Alice's identity would cause that dream stage to end. Seemed like it was up to me to do something after all. When I thought that, I felt kind of dizzy for a moment. I was seized by the sensation of my field of vision going blurry for a second. A wave of nausea passed through me. Uh-oh. This isn't good. Next thing I knew, Saki was peering at me with a worried expression. I was wondering if we were about to pass out again. The Prez was looking at me in silence. Yeah, sorry, I guess maybe I am tired. But these two were having the same dream as me, so it seemed strange for me to be the only one this tired. She pressed me into accepting a pair of chopsticks. It was true that there was a lot of food in the bento tiers for just Saki and Club Prez, but because of what happened this morning, I was a little reserved when it came to taking food from Saki. I'll have some. Club Prez looked at Saki, who had a resigned look on her face. And then at me. I love that smirk of hers. It's so great. We were doing nothing. We were sleeping. I'd hoped she wouldn't bring that up again. The Club Prez was looking at us with a resigned smile on her face, and when I thought that maybe she's being considerate, I had to smile back. I'll have you know, after having a fun night, usually you sleep better. Not that you would be tired in the morning. Unless you're really, like, doing something. I don't know what you'd be doing. I mean, I usually sleep better, but that's just me. Although it was a bitter smile. After school, I had my part-time job, so I left without going to club. Probably everyone in the science room was working hard on building the robot as Club Prez prepared her experiments. A little reluctantly, I started to walk home alone. It was then I noticed someone standing next to the school gate. Hirasaka was leaning against the wall, looking for, like she was waiting for someone. What worried me was that several people seemed to avoid Hirasaka when they noticed her. Was it a coincidence? A bitter taste arose in my mouth as I watched the indescribable scene. The ones avoiding her were all annex students, and it didn't seem to be a coincidence. Hey, you're not going home? Oh boy, that makes me think that rumors started spreading and now people are avoiding her. Thinking, oh, you're sleeping with an upperclassman. Unable to stand seeing Hirasaka like that, I called out to her. Oh, how you doing? Me? How come? I thought she said she's going to go home today, not stay the night again. Was there something she still needed from me? Hirasaka heaved an annoyed sigh. Oh yeah. Hirasaka looked a little angry. That's right, thought something had been missing when we came to school. It was because Hirasaka wasn't carrying her guitar. If you didn't need to wait in a place like this, she should have contacted me. Oh yeah, she could have asked Saki, but maybe it's hard to ask. It's a good thing I didn't go to club today. Then wouldn't you have had to have waited until it was over? That's a waste of your time, isn't it? Okay, fair enough. Certainly has an interesting mode of operation here. Mental image of Hirasaka crouching on the floor in front of my apartment door came to mind. I don't know what the neighbors would say if they saw you doing that, so please don't. Hirasaka's expression didn't change. Yeah, but then there'd be 2 girls hanging around my apartment. That makes it look worse. Yeah, maybe. Though she was the landlord's daughter, the people living there probably didn't know that. Would Hirasaka have kept waiting even if I didn't come home until really late? Would she have waited even if I didn't come home until after she was done killing time? I do feel like the guitar is very important to her. Clearly she has a connection to it. So, I assume that she'd wait quite a while. I felt like all the girls around me just walked on ahead without paying any attention to me. As I thought this, I followed after Hirasaka, who started walking without looking back. I do wonder if at some point we're gonna change as a character, we're gonna have some character development, because I do feel like all the women around us are much stronger than we are. And I'm not just saying physically, I just feel like their personalities are a little bit more forward. They're a little bit more sure of themselves. I wonder if that's gonna happen with Toru as well. I would really like to see him kind of, I don't know, adapt or change as a person. But who knows? As we talked, I felt as though the people nearby were avoiding us, avoiding Hirasaka. Now that I was with her, I was certain it wasn't my imagination. Yeah, there's definitely something going on there, and it could be completely unrelated to what happened today as well. I have kind of got the feeling that she's a loner, and I mean, that might be just her choosing to be that way, and it might be maybe she has some rumors around her. When we got back to my place, Hirasaka picked up the guitar she'd left next to the entrance. She ran her hand along the outside of the case, seemingly checking on the part which had gotten wet in the rain. I was gazing at her when suddenly she looked back at me. Not fun, but I can't tell whether you value that guitar or not. There's a lot of scratches in the case, but it looked like she wasn't treating it roughly. She just wasn't treating it like something precious either. But she seemed to be concerned about it getting wet in yesterday's rain. In the end, I couldn't tell what Hirasaka thought about that guitar. Okay, I think that makes sense. I did say I do think she values her guitar. In the sense that, yeah, she does need one. She does need one to be able to play and sing, and it doesn't have to be that one, but somehow I found myself captivated by the motion of her running her hand along the case. She had pretty fingers. I don't know, do you have a lot of money? I kind of was under the impression you don't. Our guitar's expensive to buy or fix. I looked at the clock and saw that there was still time before I had to go to work. Looking at Hirasaka as she sat there with her hands on her case, I got the feeling it wouldn't be good to send her away like this. If you want to relax for a little while, I can make some tea. Kind of looked like you didn't want to go home. She averted her gaze, looking a little offended. Oh, did I skip over? Okay. Sorry, it went on longer than the voice line than I thought. It's for my own sake. I'm meddlesome that way. Hirasaka's expression said she didn't understand, but I didn't intend to say anything more. Simply a matter of me wanting to at least be kind to those around me, especially since I was usually the one causing trouble for others. Thus, I thought that it'd be best if I just pulled myself together, and that proved to be difficult. Well, it doesn't matter. So what do you want to drink? Although I don't have anything except black tea, which isn't as tasty as it is in the dream, and bagged green tea. A little reluctantly, Hirasaka sat at the table, and I went to the kitchen to boil some water. I poured water into a kettle and put the kettle on the stove, and as I was preparing the tea bags, Hirasaka suddenly spoke up.
先輩はどうして一人暮らしをしているんですか?
I'm really enjoying that we're getting a lot of like kind of one-on-one time with her, kind of catching up to where we were with the other girls, right? I enjoy her character. I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, I still feel like there's a little bit of like complexity in here that I'm trying to understand why that is. Obviously her home situation is different, and I think there's some problems going on there, but I enjoy these little conversations we've gotten to have, and hopefully this doesn't lead to more problems for us. Why are we living on our own? What should we tell her? Around the time I graduated from the annex building, we were going to renovate the house. While that was happening, it would have been a problem if I lived far away from school, so I ended up renting this place. During that time, my parents lived in an apartment close to my dad's work. The renovation finished a long time ago, but I selfishly wanted to stay here until I graduated, so I paid for my own living expenses. They are. They're doing well. I wanted to rent a cheaper place, but I knew the owners of this building. Actually, Saki's family owns it, so for various reasons, they ended up renting this place out to me. I find that really nice that they actually acknowledge the parents. I feel like in a lot of these stories, the parents are just kind of missing or not around. So I played Cafe Stella before, and it was nice because the main character's dad was a part of the story. I think the mom had passed away, but the dad was still around, so it was nice to be able to like see a parent figure, and you know, it kind of added more to the story and making jokes and things like that. I like when they're around, and I like when you get to see them. So I feel like a lot of these stories just have these high school kind of aged kids just somehow living on their own, and I'm like, how do you afford to do that? Like, they always, at least they always have some kind of special circumstance usually, because you know, apartments are expensive. Maybe in Japan they're a little bit cheaper, but here in America they're quite expensive to live on your own. There are advantages to knowing rich people. It was one room, but it was well furnished and definitely not cheap. I always thought the property was too good for me. What are you implying? Okay, so she is rich. Okay. So, yeah, I think we've kind of heard that she has money before, and I always am under the impression that she doesn't have money. I don't know. She always acts like she kind of doesn't. But, you know, I suppose she'd probably have enough to buy herself a new guitar, and she probably lives decently. I didn't even know you were rich until I let you stay the night. I put the tea on the table. She thanked me and accepted it. I don't think money should be your main goal in life. I definitely think it's something that is a part of life if you want to live it in a certain way. I don't think you should reach for it desperately, unless you desperately don't have money. I always grew up not having a lot. I think at this point in life, I probably had more than I've ever had in my life. And I still don't have a lot. But I still have times when maybe I'm not as comfortable as I'd like to be. But I'm more comfortable than I ever was. So, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not well off. I'm not where I want to be. But at the same time, I feel like I have more than I've ever had. And I'm not even just talking about money. I just, and the things around me, the people I have, I think I've have more right now than I've ever had in my life. And that's, you know, that still doesn't mean I don't have problems, but in some way I feel happy, right? I feel like I've been blessed, right? Not rich, definitely still struggle, but I have at least what I need. I think there are people who do so. If you have money, you can buy most things, and if you don't, you're in trouble. Certainly there were things money can't buy, but there are so many things that it can buy. Hirasaka sipped her tea in silence, seemingly unconvinced. Yeah, I think a lot of people do. And I've met a lot of people like that, and I don't really vibe with those people. I don't really vibe with the people that look for money over experiences. I love experiences. Like I love the things that money can get you, in the sense that I love traveling, I like seeing things, I like eating good food, right? Those are all things you can get with money. I don't love the money itself. I don't like just saying, "Oh, I have, $1 million in my bank account." That wouldn't make me happy. I would love being able to know I have financial stability. I have what I need. I can go do something fun if I'm bored. I can provide for those around me. It would be nice to be able to go out and be like, "Hey, I got this." I think that would be the part I would enjoy about having money, not necessarily the money itself. Your father.
母にも愛想をつかされて別れられて、それでもまだ生き方を変えられない困った人です。
Hirasaka's tone almost made it sound like she was talking about some stranger's family rather than her own. Yeah, and that's the part that's kind of stuck out to me, is it does feel like there's some kind of disconnect in the family. And usually I'm used to that coming from like a family that's kind of poor, and maybe has problems with alcohol or drugs. There's something in there, or maybe the parents always away from home. They're always working because they need to provide for the family. There's always some kind of I don't know, some kind of wedge in the family dynamic that makes it kind of different. And the way she's kind of talking about her family being like strangers, it seems like her father is more obsessed with work and money. And I guess I can relate to that, because my own father is kind of that same way. He's always tried to act like he's a family guy, but he's always put work first. And I don't even know if it's money, because it's not like he makes a lot of money. He just always seems to put work first. And I have a lot of theories as to why that is, but probably not the place for in this video. Not trying to defend him, but it's not easy to change the way you live. It's not, but it's worth it if it's for the people you care about. Things would be much easier if you could change on a whim. Yes and no. I think there's definitely some things in your life that you should be willing to change. Like if you're eating unhealthy, you should be willing to change that. You should be able to recognize and be willing to change that. Or if you should be working out more, that's something I can personally attest to. I need to be working out more, and I've had to recently change my diet because I got diagnosed with celiac disease, so I can't do gluten. I mean, I've had to do that, and that's not an easy thing to do. It's very hard to cut out stuff like that because you don't realize how much gluten is in everything. But there's a lot of things in life I wouldn't necessarily want to change easily. Like, I wouldn't want, like, my love for my family to change. I wouldn't want something to happen in my family and then I see them differently instantly, right? Like, I want to have more faith in them and more trust and have the benefit of the doubt. So I guess I wouldn't change that on a whim. Hirasaka became sullen, probably because it sounded like I was defending her father. That's how it is. Even if they feel bad about it, there are people who just can't do it. At least that's what I think. It's not that they don't know. It's not that they don't know of any other way to live. They're just not capable of it. Sorry, guys. I'm having a moment here because I'm like, this is good stuff. This is really good stuff. And I was just talking about my dad, and like I just kind of immediately thought of him as I read that. Because there's a lot of people that have tried to change my dad and the way he is. He's been through multiple marriages, and he's just kind of always been the same. So the thinking of it as he knows of other ways to live that he's just not capable of it is a interesting way of putting that. Even if they lose a lot in the process and break things beyond repair, it's their own fault. They only have themselves to blame. I was a shining example of that. To explain to her that there were troublesome people like that is inadvertently talking about myself rather than Hirasaka's father. And he probably doesn't. I don't know much about him, but the fact that you think of him that way is proof of his faults. It wasn't unheard of for someone to not get along with their father. Maybe she was wandering around with her guitar and singing because that was something that couldn't be resolved.
先輩ってやっぱり変です。
I mean, I'm not a therapist, but I am someone who's struggled with a lot of mental illness, and I've had many people in my life that have. I've gotten to really get face to face with it. And when I say mental illness, I'm talking about like depression, anxiety, things along those lines. There's definitely stronger mental illness out there than what I'm used to, and I've gotten tastes of it at times. But it definitely sounds like she is kind of running away from a problem. She's avoiding something that she doesn't feel like she has control of over, and doesn't have the power to change. She recognizes there's a problem, but it's not up to her to change it. And I've definitely felt the same way too in my life. I've definitely had experiences like that, where I think I ran away from problems because I just didn't feel like I had the power to do anything about them. And sometimes you don't. There's definitely things that are out of your control that can cause problems in your life, but there's definitely some things you can do. I mean, you can try to work on your reaction to things, right? You can try to work on how you cope with it. If there's something in your life you can't change, then you can at least try to change yourself to be stronger, or to have ways of coping and handling things like that. Obviously, going to counseling is a good one, therapy. And there's techniques you can do, and there's lifestyle changes you can make to just kind of put yourself in a better position, But it's rough. It's rough having something in your life that you don't like, especially when it comes to family and their decisions. You can't control what they do. I mean, that's just all the therapy in the world won't change that. They have to be the one to do that for themselves. As you reach that conclusion from what I just said,
今まで会った人にそんなこと言う人いませんでしたから。みんな面倒なお説教やそれらしい一般常識ばかり押し付けてきます。
Interesting. Well, that stuff's important too, so long as you live by it, you won't encounter too many problems, right? But I can't be bothered to intrude on your personal circumstances, and I don't want to sound arrogant, so I'm just making stuff up. When I honestly said that, Hirasaka looked a bit taken aback. Ah, but I'm worried about you. I don't like seeing or knowing that someone I know is getting in trouble.
とことん自分勝手ですね。
I don't know. Do you think it's bad of someone to do that? To worry about someone because it makes you feel bad? Or is that a selfish thing to do? And I'm just kind of stewing on that. I personally don't think it is. I think it can be if you go too far with it. I definitely think, and I know an example in my own life of somebody who does that. Somebody who always acts like they care about others because it's self-fulfilling to them. And it's to a point where it's almost unhealthy. Where they constantly put other people first so they don't have to deal with their own problems. That's what I mean by that. There's definitely looking at helping other people and being concerned about them so much that it's unhealthy for you. And you're using it to avoid your own problems, which in return can cause problems for others. I had this goal of taking it easy, you see. Hirasaka chuckled a little. What's that for?
すいません。つい。
I've had that happen. I've had it where I've laughed at maybe moments I thought were like, oh, this is inappropriate if I laugh, but I've like tried to like suppress it. It happens. There's just some things that are funny. It's not like you're necessarily laughing at somebody, you're just maybe laughing at the situation, I just got laughed at.
変な人です。おせっかいなくせにきちんと人を助けるのが面倒だなんて。
I think both can be true. I think you can be the kind of person that likes helping people, but also saying it, it is a bother. It's conflicting, but at the same time, I think both can exist. You feel obligated to help people because maybe you're that kind of person. Maybe you know it's the right thing to do, but it's still hard to do. You're not dismissing the challenges that come with things just because they're the right thing to do. I get concerned when I see somebody wandering around aimlessly, and when I get concerned, it's actually more of a bother if I abandon them because I worry. I've had that happen too. but I had no intention of stepping in and alleviating the root cause of their problems. I was merely a busybody. It wasn't like I was some hero that I loved truth and justice. Oh yeah, what about your key? You lost it, didn't you?
あれは嘘です。ギターケースに一緒に入ってます。
Wow, okay. What does that mean, though? Why would you lie about that? Were you trying to test me? She casually says something which broke the whole premise of last night's uproar. Hey, then why did you stay at my place last
家で
night?
嫌なことがあったんです。それで少しやけになってました。
Okay. So it was an escape. I sighed deeply at how matter-of-factly she said that. She had said those things to me because she had been desperate. I doubt she had forgotten that.
先輩の言いたいことくらい分かってます。どんな相手でも良かったわけでもないし、どうしてもそうしたかったわけでもないですから。
Why'd you do something like that? It would have been easy to say nothing good would come out of hurting herself like that. But if you told that to someone, even if it was just words, what the receiving party would think would be a completely different matter. I'm going to meddle and say not to do that anymore because you'll definitely regret it later.
実感こもってますけど。
That's because I have experienced such a thing. If you became desperate and stopped taking care of yourself, then the only one in pain would be you, except that wasn't true at all. In the end, all you did was worry those around you. Maybe it was a groundless suspicion, but maybe Hirasaka was trying to make her father worry in that way. Not that it made it okay. If something happens, I can at least listen to you rant, and if you insist, you can use this apartment as a safe haven, so don't do anything
そんなこと
foolish.
言うと本当に来ますよ。
That's fine, although if you stay the night, you might have another terrible nightmare, so don't recommend
昨
that.
日みたいなですか？
That was the waiting room. If your timing is bad, you'll end up seeing something even worse. That probably didn't even seem real to Hirasaka. I don't think she
よ
believed
く
me.
わからないけど、先輩がおせっかいすぎるっていうのはよくわかりました。あと自分勝手だっていうのも。
Yeah, but maybe she needed somebody like that in her life. I do wonder if the reason why she was kind of pressuring Toru to maybe like take advantage of her or do something with her is because maybe in a way that shows her that somebody cares about her. I'm kind of getting this impression that she doesn't have a lot of people in her life that care about her, whether that's family or just in a friend way. I think she wants somebody to really show her affection, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in such an extreme manner, right? I think she's realizing right now, and she's saying I don't fully understand, but that she does understand that you're meddlesome, okay? And that you're self-serving, so he wants to help people even if it's just to help himself. I think that she's trying to say it's nice to have someone in her life that's willing to meddle in it. I do care about myself more than I do anyone else, and I think a lot of people do. Hirasaka made a face like she had suddenly realized
そう言っ
something.
てる人に限ってそんなことないんですよ。
Interesting. Would you guys agree with that? I definitely think there are people who care about themselves a lot who would admit that they do. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of people wouldn't. A lot of people, I think, are more like narcissistic in the sense that they always act like they care about other people, but they're doing it to just look better for themselves. I have known a lot of people like that. I've known a lot of people who I would definitely classify as narcissists, where anything they do is to ultimately benefit themselves. Whether it's to help somebody else, it's always to make themselves look better. And to an extreme, make themselves feel better. Now, I definitely think there's people who help others to make themselves feel better and to make themselves feel like a better person. And I think you can do that to an extent, and that's fine. I think, you know, if your motivation is to want to feel good inside, and helping people is how you do that, and you're doing it selflessly, not to have people around you always praise you or to give you things, then that's a good reason, right? I think that's fine. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people who would definitely never admit that they put themselves first. And sometimes, you know, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that, actually. She said haughtily, and then...
私 似たようなことを言われたんです。学校の先輩に。
Hirasaka seemed calm and was smiling gently as she
世
said
の中
this.
どうでもいいって言ってる人に限って真面目に見てたりするんだ。ただ、心が広いかどうかは別の話。
I've definitely been, in this first sentence, I've definitely been that person who kind of have this look that, like, nothing in life really matters, because I've looked at things more seriously. I think this is a coping mechanism, kind of like I talked about earlier, when you have so much in your life that feels, like, out of control. You say something like that, like, nothing matters, or what does it matter anyways? You try to, like, downplay it, because it makes it seem less severe in your mind when you're actually really worried about it. You actually, like, obsess in a way. And I think that's your way of downplaying it so it doesn't hurt you as bad, that you don't have control over everything, and that you feel like everything around you is very overwhelming. But yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean you're a kind-hearted person.
融通聞かないから絶望しちゃって。融通が聞きすぎてもどうでもよくなっちゃって。すごいよね。結局たどり着くとこ一緒なんだからって。
I don't think that senpai of yours and I really sound alike.
自分のことを人事みたいに言うところが似てました。
Interesting. That is a problem for there to be people like that around. Wasaki would probably say something like, I couldn't stand to have a bunch of people like you around. If something happens, you could try talking to that senpai instead of me. The Hirasaka softly shook her head.
その先輩、もう学校に来てないんです。
I don't know. Sorry, my immediate thought was Alice. I don't know if it's Alice, but I was just trying to think of somebody who wouldn't be coming to school anymore. She gave a lonely smile. Well, then I guess there's no helping him. Something tactless was all I could come up with in response to that. I feel like she would have recognized Alice, though, if that was the person. Because Alice seems to me like she's in a coma. That's kind of been my guess. And that would make sense that if she was in a coma, she wasn't coming to school anymore. I didn't dream that night. What? Really? No dreams? I don't know if I believe that. What? I didn't have a dream Sasaki hadn't showed up in my apartment either. Even though I should have gotten a good night's sleep, there was a heaviness throughout my entire body. Maybe it had been such a long time since I'd really slept that my body wasn't used to it, or it couldn't keep up or something. In that case, sucks to be me. I grumbled as I rubbed my shoulders and bent my neck. Maybe there was this tiredness from the commotion continuing for several days descending on me all at once. That actually seemed even more likely. I'd like to take the day off and relax, but I would have liked to have a wish more becoming of my age, but that was really my greatest desire at that moment. I didn't have that dream, so maybe relatively peaceful days were now back. No. Absolutely not. No peaceful days here. They're definitely not back. And it looked like that wish might have come true because lunchtime arrived without an incident. My standards must have been really messed up for me to feel relieved just because nothing had happened for half the day. We are kind of in a lull, aren't we? I mean, we just met Hirasaka and we've been kind of going through things. We haven't really had anything going on with Maya lately. Apparently we didn't dream last night, which is crazy. I feel like that's not happened in a long time. I don't know. There's a strange, like, kind of stillness in the water right now. You know how it's kind of quiet before the storm? I feel like that's a very good example of this. As I was talking to Tetsuya about what I was going to do for lunch, I got a text on my phone. Can you stop? Stop butting in. Because he's clearly after her. Asahi gave the usual low kick while wearing a sweet smile. Feeling relieved at this common scene, I opened my phone as a text from Saki. Wonder what this is about. I thought maybe it was an invitation to lunch in a more discreet manner, but when I opened it, I inadvertently heaved a sigh. Okay. I mean, that's probably a good example. I see, so I'm making that sort of face. I snap my phone shut. I'm gonna meet with Saki.
何があったかわかんないけど、頑張ってね。
Good luck. Thanks. I feel bad that someone has to say good luck when I'm meeting with Saki, as if it's gonna be my last time. Honestly, he sent me off a reserved wave. It looked like my peaceful days were over after one night. Oh yeah, there's no way it could last.
よかった、兄さん。
It had been a while since I last came to the annex building. Felt a little awkward because there were hardly any students from the main building, but then Saki spotted me and ran up. What happened? Her text had said that Hirasaka was acting strange.
まだ教室にいるから見てもらった方が早いと思うんだけど。
Saki's tone sounded more like when we were alone than when we were outside. Wondering if the situation was really that dire, I appeared into Saki's class. The instant I entered, I felt lightheaded.
あら、内藤先輩じゃないですか。蓮野さんにご用でも？
What? Do you have a split personality? I'm sorry, that's just my immediate thought. I'm like, what's going on here? Hello. Oh yeah, something like that. When I entered the classroom, Hirasaka faced me with a smile. There are several people who look like her friends all around Hirasaka who previously seemed to be alone all the time. Hirasaka was talking happily in the middle of the group of both guys and girls. Seeing that Hirasaka noticed me and the people she had been talking to looked as though they were a nuisance. What happened?
そういえば、先日はどうもありがとうございました。おかげで助かりました。
Oh no, I didn't do much.
平坂さん、先輩と何があったんですか？
One of her entourage, though I don't like to use this term, asked upon seeing me so casually. Somehow I felt like the question was there to keep me in check.
雨に降られていたところを助けてもらったんです。
Did I get sucked into like a parallel universe or something? And is this part of the multiverse? This is a different Hirasaka who's more outgoing and not kind of depressive. It was just a coincidence though, it was just passing by.
それでも助けてもらったことには変わりないですから。お礼はいずれさせてください。
I don't like this version of you. Go back. Go back to the past. No, you don't have to worry about it. I mean, not that I want you to suffer and you know, have problems, but I would like it if, you were not like this. This feels fake. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't read that. No, you don't have to worry about it. Felt an indescribable discomfort at Hirasaka's dazzling smile. Thank you! Me too. Glad I'm not the only one. Not only that, but there was an envious, almost investigative atmosphere coming from the entourage around her, which didn't make things comfortable either. Like, are we in a dream? No, I don't think we are. But is I don't know.
兄さん、ちょっといいかしら。
There's something wrong here. Saki, sorry, see you. Saki called me over to a place a little removed from Hirasaka. Thanks to that, the surrounding people returned their attention from me to Hirasaka. What was that? Is that how Hirasaka usually behaves at school? He was acting just as you think a school president's niece would, but Saki shook her head.
普段はもっと物静かで一人でいることが多いタイプだったんだけど。
The thing that makes me suspicious is not just her personality changed, but people around her. People were avoiding her, then all of a sudden now everyone's around her, she's talking differently. That just makes me think it's a dream or something. Like something is wrong here. And our dreams starting to seep into reality. I was wondering if that was going to be something that happens. If like our world around us was going to slowly change, even outside of dreams. Like we weren't going to be able to slowly like tell one from the other. Thank God if even Hirasaka was like that, I would have started to suspect Asahi.
なんでそこで朝日先輩の名前が出るのかしら。
Among the girls around me, a lot of them were kind of two-faced, or rather they changed attitude depending on who they were talking to. A lot of people do this. If Hirasaka turned out to be like that, I would have to wonder if Asahi had that side to her as well. If she was, then the last offense would be Maya, who only ever showed an unsavory side, or Alice, who I didn't really understand. Oh, and Takahara-san. It's actually quite a few, thank goodness.
さっきから何を言ってるの？それより。
I know, just being here is making my head spin.
そんなに平坂さんの態度がショックだったの？
No, I'm used to that from you guys, so I'm okay, but don't tell me you haven't noticed it. Saki tilted her head in confusion. Come to think of it, even though I was talking to Saki like this, I didn't feel any envious gazes. Looked like Hirasaka had taken all that attention away. Oh, he's snapping his fingers. He's trying to see if it's a dream. Snap my fingers once. Hirasaka, I need to talk to you. Do you have some time? The inside said that her entourage shot me a look. I don't want to say this about people from the same school, but they made me feel extremely uncomfortable. Crap, I should have asked Saki about the names of the people around. If you don't mind, that would be fine too. The surrounding enviousness, no jealousy grew even fiercer. Hirasaka seemed to notice this too, as she smiled brightly. Yeah, my immediate thought, is this her dream? Is this what she wants to happen? She wants to feel like she's welcomed by those around her, and that she kind of maybe is popular, or maybe she just gets along with people. No, I'm sorry for bringing it up so suddenly. Well, maybe some other time. You don't have to worry about that. We can just talk whenever it's convenient for you. Yeah, see you. I couldn't tell whether her entourage felt relieved that Hirasaka had chosen them or jealous of me that I had made a promise with her. Hirasaka led her friends out of the classroom. With that, my lightheadedness gradually settled down. Saki, let's go too. I thought people would have been confused to see someone in their class suddenly change so much, but no one other than Saki seemed to think it was strange. Well, a little. More importantly, I want to hurry and get away from here. I don't know whether Saki really didn't notice it or whether she was just fine with it, but I pushed her from behind and walked out of the classroom. There was no sign of anyone taking notice of us. Oh boy. Are we like in is the dream state like connecting with reality too here? I'm just really at a loss for what necessarily is happening. Okay, we're gonna end the video here. I think we're about at the hour mark, so let's stop here and then really dive into a next episode. I think that's what we'll do. And I just finished Leyline, so I'm going to be trying to focus on this series a bit more. I know I've kind of neglected it, I'm sorry. I definitely want to dive in more and see what's going on with the story here, and hopefully start getting into some of the more individual routes and seeing how those go. But it looks like the story is starting to change a little. It's starting to pick up again. I kind of got that feeling, since nothing was happening, that something bigger is going to happen. So I'm sure we'll see that start to take place here soon. Anyways, you guys, I hope you're enjoying it, and I'll be playing some more Hapymaher soon. Look forward to it.